Hi Maple Bears! Are you ready for a brand new story? Snuggle up, take a deep breath, and let your imagination open wide. Because today, we're going to a magical place, where umbrellas grow on trees, clouds can talk, and one brave girl is about to change everything. This is the story of Polly and the Umbrella Orchard, with Nimbus. Ready? Let's begin. In the valley of Grapetown, where rain sang lullabies on rooftops and clouds drifted like lazy balloons, there was a place almost too strange to believe. An orchard, one that didn't grow fruit. Instead, it grew umbrellas. They hung from gnarled branches, swaying gently like sleepy bats. Some umbrellas were tiny and delicate, no bigger than a teacup. Others were wide as dinner tables, with handles that curled like candy canes. The trees themselves were twisted and tall, with bark that shimmered in the rain and leaves shaped like droplets. This was the umbrella orchard. Nobody knew who had planted it. It had always been there, just past the hills behind the old train tracks. Townspeople used to visit long ago, until the day of the last storm, when something changed. After that, people locked their doors when the sky turned dark and whispered stories of umbrellas that could see the future. But Polly Featherweather wasn't afraid. She was 12 years old and wore a yellow raincoat that snapped shut like a promise. Her wind-blown hair was always tangled, and her boots were forever muddy. She lived with her father in a creaky cottage by the lake, and her best friend was a duck named Nimbus, who wore a hand-knitted scarf and always waddled beside her. Polly's grandmother, Granny Wisp, had once cared for the orchard. She used to hum to the trees and whisper into the umbrella handles like they were old friends. Before she passed, Granny Wisp had told Polly one important thing. The orchard doesn't show you what will be, child. It shows you what you fear will be. Your heart writes the story. The umbrella just opens the page. Polly didn't quite understand what that meant. Not until the day the orchard opened a page she wasn't ready for. It started with a flicker of curiosity and a breeze. Polly and Nimbus were exploring the outer edge of the orchard, as they often did, when the wind picked up and a low creaking sound echoed through the branches. One umbrella, a light blue umbrella, began to sway. Then it dropped. It landed at Polly's feet with a soft thump. Nimbus quacked nervously, tilting his head. Polly picked up the umbrella. The moment her fingers touched its handle, a chill shot up her spine. It felt alive. With trembling hands, she popped it open. The world around her vanished. Polly gasped and dropped the umbrella. It snapped shut. Nimbus pecked at her shoe gently, worried. "That wasn't a dream," Polly whispered. "That was Grapetown, underwater." She stared at the umbrella. Its blue fabric had faded slightly, as if the vision had drained some of its color. "I have to tell someone." But who would believe her? Polly ran all the way to the weather tower, Nimbus struggling to keep up. Her father was there, adjusting dials and checking wind gauges. "There's going to be a storm," Polly blurted. "A huge one. I saw it, in the orchard." Her father blinked. "You saw it? In a forecast?" "No, in an umbrella," she said, breathless. "It showed me the future." The whole town flooded. His face darkened. "Polly," he said slowly, "that orchard is dangerous. You know what happened during the last storm? Granny used to say those umbrellas play tricks on peoples, but it felt real." He placed a firm hand on her shoulder. "Let's talk about this at home." But Polly could see it in his eyes. He didn't believe her, and he was afraid, too. That night, unable to sleep, Polly snuck back into the orchard. This time, she went deeper, past the willow gate, past the rows of droopy handles and creaky trunks. Nimbus followed nervously, his little scarf flapping in the breeze. There, in the heart of the orchard, was something new. A tree she had never seen before. It stood taller than all the others, with silver bark and leaves that looked like glass. One umbrella hung from its highest branch, dark purple, with velvet trim and a wooden handle carved into a spiral. Polly climbed. The umbrella was heavier than it looked. And when she grabbed it, "Watch it, girl. I don't like being yanked." Polly shrieked and nearly fell off the branch. The umbrella had spoken. "I beg your pardon," it sniffed. "If you're going to drag me out of retirement, at least offer me a proper introduction. I'm Velma." Polly gaped. "You talk? Obviously. said Velma. "And I suppose you're the new orchard keeper?" "Me? No, I. Don't argue. You're already touching the spiral tree. That's legacy wood. Only a true seer can open its root. You do come from the Wisp line, don't you?" "Yes," Polly said slowly. "Granny Wisp was my grandmother." Velma sighed. "Well then, I suppose it's time." "Time for what?" "To fix the orchard." Velma told her everything. The umbrella orchard wasn't broken. It was responding. The more fear people held in their hearts, the darker the orchard became. The umbrellas didn't cause fear. They reflected it. "Your grandmother understood that," said Velma. "She taught people how to face their fears. She sang to the orchard. But after the last storm, people stopped listening. They thought the visions were predictions, and fear spread like fog." Polly's vision of the flooded town wasn't fate. It was a possibility, a shadow of a path. "But if we don't do something," Polly asked, "can it still happen?" "Yes," Velma said gravely, "unless you plant a new umbrella, one born from hope." To plant a new umbrella, Polly would need 3 things. 1. A seed of memory from someone she loved. 2. A thread of courage, taken during a moment of fear. 3. A drop of future light, found only in the Forbidden Grove. Polly had no idea what future light even was, but she had no choice. With Velma strapped to her back and Nimbus in her arms, she set out across the orchard, guided by moonlight and wind. The trees grew taller, the umbrellas stranger. One opened to reveal a silent wedding, another, a lonely grave, another, a child hugging an old friend. Each was a fear, each a fork in a path. Finally, they reached the Forbidden Grove. A tree stood at its center, glowing faintly, with umbrellas made of crystal and fire. Polly stepped forward, heart pounding. "Don't be afraid," Velma whispered. Polly reached up, and the tree opened. Inside the tree was a hollow chamber filled with stars. Floating in the air was a tiny orb of light, warm, pulsing, alive. "Future light." Polly reached out, and the orb flowed into her hands like warm water. She wept. For the first time, she understood. The future wasn't written. It was woven, strand by strand, choice by choice. She returned to the spiral tree and buried the future light, along with a dried petal from Granny Wisp's journal, a memory, a raincoat, pulled during her climb, courage, and a promise. "I will not be afraid to hope." The next morning, dark clouds gathered over Grapetown. A storm was coming, big and angry. The townspeople panicked. The weather tower shut down. People locked their doors and waited for disaster. Polly stood in the orchard. The new umbrella had grown. It was clear as glass, glowing from within. She picked it, held it high, and opened it. The storm paused. Raindrops floated midair. The clouds froze. Everyone saw something different in the umbrella's canopy. A bridge being rebuilt. A town dancing in the rain. A baby being born. A hand reaching out to a neighbor. The orchard bloomed. Dozens of umbrellas burst open in color and light. The storm dissolved into mist. From that day on, the orchard was no longer feared. People came not to know the future, but to understand themselves. Some umbrellas still showed fears, but others showed joy, or choices, or chances. Polly became the new keeper. With Velma by her side and Nimbus waddling at her heels, she taught the townspeople what Granny Wisp had always known. The future is not a fixed road. It's 1,000 branches, and you choose where to grow. Even now, if you visit Grapetown during a soft drizzle, you might hear laughter coming from the hills. You might glimpse yellow raincoats between the trees. And if you're lucky, really lucky, you might find an umbrella hanging low, just within reach. Go ahead, open it. It won't tell you the future, but it might just tell you the truth. The truth about who you are, what you're afraid of, and how brave you really are. And that's the end of our story, Maple Bears. Did you enjoy the adventure? Is your heart feeling a little braver? A little more hopeful? Remember, just like Polly, you can grow hope, even on the rainiest days. If you loved this story, don't forget to like, follow, and share so more little dreamers can join us next time. Until then, keep your umbrellas ready, and your hearts full of light. See you soon, Maple Bears.